I spend my life researching and teaching people how to live a powerful life. I am a believer. I stand for the transformation of humanity. I have found my purpose. My name is Gabrielle McGee, and I am the Rebellious Therapist. So welcome to the Rebellious Therapist podcast. Another week of, doing the how-to series. And with me this week again is Kira in New York. And I want to welcome you, Kira. And
hello.
Yes, I just, I've been getting feedback about these podcasts, how useful it's been for us to, really dive in and get some of the information out there that we feel we've been giving value to people, and people are like, I'm getting really good feedback on these series. So thank you again, Kira, for supporting and coming along and being part of it.
Love it. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So today is a major topic. It's the topic that not so much men, even men do ask this, but women, I swear, 99.9% of women asked me how to be confident. And I know we talk a lot about this. We've talked a lot about this as we've gone along, Kira, since I've started working with you, and we've explored it. I've done seminars in it. I've done, 10-week seminars where people explored who they are in the world and how they lack confidence, in which area of their lives they lose confidence in, and why. So we'll touch on some of that stuff today.
Yes.
And we'll look at, what is confidence? Because at one point I was saying to people, look, it's not going to fall out of the sky. It's not something that someone's going to come along and just sort of zap you and you feel confident. It's a process. And it's a process we haven't been taught very well as children. I think we're getting wiser now, more sophisticated, more educated. But through the sports, I think for young men was great in a line with giving them sort of access to being more resilient and confident, for girls as well.
Mm-hmm.
But usually men don't sort of run or go after confidence. They're built to be more sort of shown up and more action based, which we'll talk about the action involvement instead of building confidence. Where girls are sort of like, they're more on the bench, they're sort of waiting, they're in the waiting states, or they're more and more emotional. And I find that my clients, and working through the 30 years of therapy that I have experienced in working with people, that women do struggle on figuring out how to be confident. So
why do you think it is women? Is it society?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just, again, a hardwire in us? Or what do you think it is?
I think it's actually a nurturing situation, right? So, we teach our girls that to be nice, to be polite, not to be too noisy, not to say too much, nice girls don't be heard. There's all these programs that we are programmed into that does be told to boys. The boys be told different things, right?
Mm.
But men are allowed to sort of show up and be the man and take charge and, be the leader.
Yeah.
We don't tell the girl when she's 5 and 6, you got to take leadership in your life. We're feeding them all these, as we go back to the fairy tale stories where their knight in shining armor is going to come and whip them away into the twilight zone, and they're going to live happily ever after, and they don't have to do nothing because someone's come to get them.
Yeah.
So when we think about this, we think, oh my God, so how would we teach our girls to be more confident? What's the stories they need to be fed? What is the conversations and the information that needs to be provided at such a young age, because confidence is something that we've got to learn. It's a process we learn. We're not, the child is born and things happen between that and 7 that knocks, any type of process and their self-belief and confidence. It's all about self-belief, right? So as you know, Kira, as the child grows up, we get a lot of different messages. Some of them are not really great for confidence building. And, we go to school, we make decisions about ourselves, who we are in the world. And, a lot of those decisions are not good ones. We're not, it's like there's something wrong with us. Like a critic, our mind's critic is very active, as we are as humans, right? And so, there should be programs in the school for kids. We have to teach our kids very, very early on, when the subconscious is getting programmed, that they have a process inbuilt to how to step into the world and how to be confident. Now, you'll see some children, if you watch children, who's really confident in certain things that they do, and then something happens. They either failed or someone criticizes them, and then they lose what was just free self-expression for them. So now we're
confidence, you're not born with it.
Confidence is something I think we've learned. I'm not saying you're not born with feeling. You see, it's something you have to learn rather than be born with. Does that make sense?
Like, say, like the person next to me is not born with confidence and I'm not. It's not like a gene. It's not like something. It's like we come out on the same kind of with the blank slate, and how we're, like you said, the process and how we're taught,
yes,
and how it's built into us is going to reflect how much confidence we have.
Totally, and how we perceive the world, and how we feel the world, which is maybe more important, is where it's going to really be a big factor. And how confident as children we are. And then that child then becomes the adult.
Yes.
So here we are, we're adults, and we're running around like, how to be confident? And everyone's craving and thinking that's going to fix their life for them. I think once I get confident in my life, I'm just going to be able to do anything, go anywhere and figure stuff out. I'll be successful. It's such a myth when people talk about confidence. And I always ask, what is confidence for you?
True.
It's one of the questions I ask people, because, a lot of people come to therapy because they want to be more confident. So it's a really interesting sort of subject to open up and explore. And for you, what's confident for you will be completely different for me. So it's not like a one-way ticket, or it's not just one way of being confident.
I was reading a book, and they said if you could bottle confidence, it probably would be the highest selling product in the world. Like it'd be sold out everywhere. If we could just buy it, and that's what we think it is. So I think but again, that goes back to like looking for it externally. Whereas you say it's an internal process that you have to look inside you to see what confidence looks like for you, and then apply it and build the muscle of it.
Totally. And then you see, the thing is, we have to look at our insecurities first before we look at confidence.
Yes.
And that is the real trick, right? So we look at, okay, why we feel insecure? Why do we feel fearful? What are we in? What state are we in? Right? So it's like if we're continuously driving from a fight or flight or freeze state, which is survival, then we ain't going to get any access to confidence at that point. So there's work to be done before we reach at the point where we actually learn the tools and how to navigate, how to be confident. Now, an interesting one is a lot of this is driven from childhood, for sure. Fact. So, like I was doing Irish dancing, and I remember a time where, I was really confident. And then I went on a face and nobody had told me or prepared me enough to be on stage. I wasn't confident enough to be on stage. They hadn't taught me to. So they put the child on the stage and I was really young and I'm like in front of all these people and nobody had told me how to do. They probably changed the process now, but my teacher had never taught me how to be on stage and how to show up and perform and compete. And after that, I left. That was it. I'm gone. I was confident up until that point because all I was doing was dancing. I was a great Irish dancer. But the minute I got fearful, I got scared. So that experience was so extreme that I would never go back to repeat that experience again. Some people would, I didn't.
Interesting.
So there lies, a lack, that's something then we had to work through therapy and through, the process of building confidence and not getting, even though I got a great result. I think I won something, but it didn't matter. That first part of that process, but I was put on stage and nobody told me how I was going to feel, what to look out for, what to do. I just had to work it out myself. That was it. I'm gone.
Yeah.
So the experience just lies, not in the past. It's completely there right in front of you in your future. And you carry that experience with you.
Until you complete it or
until you
reprogram it.
Yeah, until you tell yourself a different story to reprogram. You also have to change the feelings. So that's where the real navigation goes on. Like that's where the real tools lie. You really have to look at what state or what story you're in when it comes to confidence, in that particular point. So some people it's, I have clients where they're not confident in relationships or they're not confident in work. They're not confident doing projects or presenting. It's a big one.
Public speaking.
Some people are like, I got guys who doesn't know how to talk to girls because they don't have the confidence. They don't have that process. I have another girl who doesn't know how to start up just a social conversation with strangers. So that we've got to take the client back to see where it all started, where it all stems from, what's the core belief system in there. Because it's all fear-based and really like in survival mode whenever you're going to, approach something where you've had a bad experience before, and there's a part of the brain that is called the protector. That's our survival. So anything that looks like an experience or even a hint of an experience of our past, our protector comes in and says, we ain't doing that. It's dangerous. No, this is on a subconscious level. So then what that happens there is we don't have access to confidence at that part. And what you will find is with confidence, the new stuff, anything we're going to do new, and we haven't practiced enough, or we haven't done, we haven't exposed ourselves enough to, is a lot of times where we don't have confidence. One of the places for me, as you know, I was going on and on and on about social media.
Yeah.
And I was ranting and raving about social media and about talking and the podcasting and, I've had to really navigate and really practice and really get more confidence and really expose myself to it.
So would you say you could tie that back even to the fesh? Because
Absolutely.
You're fine talking to clients on, face-to-face or on Zoom, but then put you on a public platform.
And to perform. The minute performance is involved, I'm going back to that. That child shows up.
So that's the link then between the two, I guess.
That's the link between the two. And then the child, the fear shows up. And then I become that child.
Yeah.
So she starts taking charge, not me.
Mm-hmm.
And all that emotion shows up rather than, and then if you're trying to look at it from a conscious level in the brain, it's like you're not going to figure it out because it's subconscious. And you're
Yeah.
like, why can't I talk? Why can't I just open my mouth and say things?
Yeah.
And it shows up, it's quite complex at some level, you know?
Yeah. So if somebody's hitting this podcast now, it's like, right, I'm going to get confidence after
Yeah.
this. So what just came to me there was maybe if you take out your journal and you
Yeah.
look at your insecurities on one side
Totally.
and then what you want to be confident in on the other side and see if they link.
Yes, very good. So left-hand side, I always say, is look at what's the missing link
Yeah.
for where you're at and where you want to get to.
Yeah.
And then look on the right-hand side of that page, write down what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
Then we start to get some clarity of what's missing. Then what I say to people is go study that. Go find that person who knows how to do that. Because if she knows how to do it or he knows how to do it, then he is the right person because he's already doing it. And I do that a lot. You know, I watch people, they can do that. Oh, they're good at that. Then I'll interview them. And people have all the answers. It can give you access to figuring this stuff out.
So in real time now, I'm trying to link it for myself, maybe just to give an example to people of what that might look like. I'm not confident in trusting myself and my decisions.
Yeah.
So I always seek approval or the validation of somebody else. So I go straight to the external. But if I'm going to try and link that back to my childhood, I would say that codependency is coming up strong there.
So say a little bit about what you mean by that, Ciara, for people who don't know nothing about codependency.
Yeah. So growing up, I kind of lived through my mother.
Yeah.
So I based my mood on her mood.
So the overdependency, how mum felt.
On how mum felt.
Yeah.
So if I was always dependent on her growing up, I was never going to get to know who I was or know what I would want because I was always looking over there.
Yeah. Because that was but that's what children do. They measure themselves on how mom feels or dad feels or how dad is. So then, it's the that's where your external process, which is the mirror neurons in the brain.
Yeah.
Which is a process we've got to go through as well. Because, our parents teach us how to be human, how to be grown-up adults in the world. Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't have the rule book or they didn't have the experience of how to parent, properly because they weren't, they've gone through all that process. Just, it's a guessing game at that point.
Yeah.
For them. And thinking they're doing the right thing or, unconscious of what they're doing. A lot of times the parents are unconscious how they parent, not knowing that that's actually going to show up for the child or destroy the child's confidence going forward. So if the parents are not confident, how would the child know how to be confident?
Yeah. So then if I bring that back to today, knowing that, that's the link I've made now, that's the kind of the root of it. And now I just have to build and go inside and I have to build that confidence muscle of making decisions, of trusting myself. But I still fall back, I still fall back a good bit because I always go to somebody. Yeah. What do you think of this decision I'm about to make? Or I might not even say that, but I'll just say it. But then I know I'll be eagerly awaiting their response to give me that feeling of confidence.
Very good.
But then what you have to think about is that other person is in a whole different experience of life to you. So they're never going to be able to give you the right answer. Yes, they can have guidance and support, but I'm only going to truly know exactly what I want in the moment in time. So I just think it's hard to navigate.
Well, so I'm going to go back to something here, Ciara, right? So first of all, when you're asking the question, what do you think? You need to start figuring out who's asking. Is it the child asking mommy? Yeah. Or is it the healthy adult asking a question, which is completely different? It's not it's not an issue. There's not a problem with asking people's opinion, but it's where you're asking from. If you're asking from, your patterns, your young age child stuff, it's not complete. Then that's not that's something where you've got to work through and start trusting in yourself.
Yeah.
That's going to be a learning process for you more than it's not just something you can go back, learn and get on with. It's going to be an ongoing process because it's so deeply, the core of that's so deep in you that it's probably something you might always have to handle, be aware of.
Well, I think when you're actively trying to be confident, there's a million people talking to you when you're in that state.
Yes.
So it's kind of navigating and listening to the right person, which is the healthy adult.
Yeah. So we have this distinction where I call it healthy adult, where you're responsible, you're internally making decisions, or the child program showing up, the timeline where the child felt insecure, that trigger is showing up and is informing you and is talking. So that you've got to work through all of that, which is quite a deep process, but also can be quite complex. Because without that being complete and the child feeling secure, guess what? Confidence has no way in or no space to navigate itself.
Yeah.
Then, let's look at some of the steps, Work through your past. That's really important. I think that's step number one. Then also look at how the story you're telling yourself about yourself and about the situation. Once you get that, as you say, journaled out, then look at, how do you change that story? How do you change the state of what you feel that story from? And that's the real secret. It's change state. Yeah. Now, a lot of times, that's where the somatic work comes in. I do a lot of somatic work, which is body work. So movement is really, really, really important for confidence.
Yeah.
Especially when I work with people who work in like corporate and they're dealing with, managers above them and it might be representing fear for them or whatever. I ask them to stand up while they take a call, because that changes state. Because when you're standing up and you sort of stand up really firm, and a lot of time I tell people, put your two hands on your waist and stand straight. Automatically, you cannot be fearful from there.
Yeah.
And really, 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 really practice that and really enhance the state of that, and really breathe that state right through your whole body. It's like deep breaths. And really breathe that confidence, and automatically everything changes. Your state changes, your mind, you can feel your mind sort of getting more alert. So through the breath. So
if you're listening now, hands on your hips.
Yes, correct. Deep
Stand
breath.
Up straight, deep breath.
Shoulders back. And really breathe into a state of confidence. Really, like even go.
And that's what you say is the energy side of confidence. Like it's not something you can attain.
No.
It's an internal, energetic field that you have to feel to
tap into.
Access.
Yeah, totally. Now that's a very fast way of swapping the sort of young age stuff to more healthy stuff, adult, through breath. Okay? Now, also, learn the value of yourself. That's so important.
Yeah.
If you start to learn the value of yourself and the value of your skills in this process, then that's you starting to build your way to a more confident relationship with whatever that area is for you.
And I think it's important as well to say, like, you weren't born wrong. You weren't born with like any default. It's look to your past for the answers, for the explanation.
Yes, correct.
For that's where you can start to then reprogram, rebuild, and figure out where the next step of confidence lies.
Yes, totally. So that'll be informing you.
There's nothing inherently wrong with you.
No.
It's just something you have to figure out and
navigate, right? Navigate your way through. So
then you access it. So we all have the capabilities of accessing it, but it's up to you. It's not going to be from anywhere else. It's not going to be from a book. It's not going to be from this podcast.
Yes.
It's going to be from
might be
yourself. This podcast is going to be a start.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but then also learn how to create drive in you. That's really important for confidence. The learning a process to create drive in you is really important. There's moments where you're not going to feel confident. You change your state by breath, by somatic work, by shifting and movement, and then create a drive in that. Create how to drive something forward. That's a process you got to learn. Okay.
Yeah.
That's another tool I recommend. Let's see. We're nearly at the end here, so I'll just give maybe what else do I think about.
I have a good quote from the Netflix documentary Stutz that we both love.
Oh yes, well we probably will cover at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, true confidence is living with uncertainty and moving forward.
Yes.
And that's what you said. That's like the drive, the moving forward. Just keep on going on.
Beautiful.
You're going to get setbacks along the way, but, do your stance, find the value in yourself and just keep on keeping on.
And learn how to create real internal certainty.
Because life is always going to be uncertain, but you can be certain.
That's up to you how you're going to really, what you've taught your internal state to really process or perform from. That's up to you. So there is things you can do. Then after that, there's a state of confidence that will arrive.
And you'll just practice it every day.
It's a practice. It'll be ongoing for life, but you need to have that practice in place, So, look, I think we've given really good tips here. I know, because I've had people really practice this stuff and really change their life. So I know this is proven. I don't have to guess this. I know this works. So please, people, go away, listen to this podcast, and then come back and listen to it one more time. And really practice the tools that we've given you today. So I want to say thank you for another great podcast series. Thank you, Ciara. And
thank you so much.
I know we've got a few other topics coming along in the next few weeks as well, which we really are excited about us covering.
Yeah, and if you want to hear anything specific, just send your inbox on Instagram a message. Absolutely. If you want to hear a topic or subscribe. Chat to us. We're here to serve you and provide value for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ciara. Look, I want to say I love you. You take care.
Love you.
Until the next time.
Till the next time. Thank you.
Bye and thanks for listening. I spend my life researching and teaching people how to live a powerful life. I am a believer. I stand for the transformation of humanity. I have found my purpose. My name is Gabrielle McGee, and I am the Rebellious Therapist.